Hello, today I have a product release close-up video for you. This is a video I do when there is a new release that I think is really great, and I show you all the products in it and some ideas for using it. And this release is from My Favorite Things. Now I will tell you right now that I did get some help from my 9-year-old son Colin, so you'll be seeing him throughout this video. Since this release is pretty big, I'm going to go ahead and dive in. The first stamp set is the Penguins in Paradise, and I mean, come on, get out of town. This has got to be the cutest set ever. I love the little penguins in here. Very simple images that would be great for practicing your coloring with different types of mediums. I like that there are also several penguins, so you can use them together or separately and get a bunch of different cards. The sentiments all match up with the images perfectly, like the "you make every day cooler" or "I hope your day is as cool as you are." I also like that there are a few sentiments in there that you could use with other images, like the one that says, "I miss you, that is all." I'll be using that one a lot because I send a lot of miss you cards. I also think it's fun that the few of these little penguins are holding something. So one of them's holding a drink and one's holding a popsicle, but you could cut those little parts of the images out and have them instead hold maybe some balloons or a birthday present. It's fun to kind of change images up, and this is a good set for doing that. And My Favorite Things is really good about having coordinating dies available for each of the stamp sets, so there is that option also. Now, when I was doing this video, my son had come home from school and he was really interested in some of these stamp sets, so he actually decided to use this set to make a card for his teacher for the end of the year. So I wanted to share the card that he did here, and he takes total credit. He just put the images in his Misty stamping tool, stamped them with My Favorite Things black hybrid ink, and colored them with Copic markers, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. These sets are great for kids too. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I have a card maker on my hands. Okay, the next stamp set is the Happy Pandas. Now this one would be fun to stamp that panda on the bottom that's laying down on the bottom, and then on top of him stamp the panda that's sitting, and then on top of him stamp the panda that is standing. So you just have like a pile of pandas on the front of a card celebrating. I like that there is a sign at the top right that you can stamp your sentiment in and then have the panda holding it. There's also a balloon for the panda to hold. I think it'd be fun to stamp these on some white velvet paper with black ink so that they kind of have a little fuzzy feel to it, or you could add flocking if you wanted to. The sentiments really won me over with the "sending you a big bear hug," the "I can barely live without you." I know those are some that I think would fit with other stamp sets I already have too. And the "I wish we could hang out." Any kind of little critter you could hang from a balloon and use that sentiment. So the sentiments here will work with this set and also other ones you may have. Now, I also wanted to mention that these have coordinating dies available as always. Colin was also really excited about the Watercolor Flower set. So as he's showing you here, you stamp these images on top of each other to create this watercolor looking flower. Fantastic stamp layering set. And they put little lines around the images that go together so that there's no guesswork to it. Now you could stamp these with, say, like a distress ink on watercolor paper, then add a little bit of water to it after you've done all your stamp layering to kind of soften it up and make it look like you watercolored them when in fact you just stamped them. I'm not great at freehand watercoloring or painting or anything of that matter, so stamp sets like this are great for completely faking it. To go along with that, we have the written in watercolor set. Of course, I like this because I could stamp it with a soft ink and trace over it with either my clean color real brush pens, my Copic markers, watercolor, anything I want, or I could heat emboss it and just have a nice bold image. The great thing about this set is that it's every single type of sentiment that I use most. Everything from birthday to something for a friend. "You're amazing." "Miss you" is something I use often, as I mentioned, and "thank you so much." So this is one of those stamp sets that covers all the bases, so it's one that I'll be reaching for often. I really like bold sentiments too, because you could just do a simple watercolor background and you're good to go with just the sentiment. So Colin's going to help me introduce the next two sets, which are the smaller sets. The top one is Adventure is Waiting. It's got the little girl with the suitcase. I love the little bunny there, and I think he'll be fun to use on lots of different cards. And the sentiment in there that won my heart is it too soon to miss you? I just think that's fantastic. Then, of course, there is the dancer on the bottom, which we agree looks like our little Lila, Colin's little sister. And what I like to do with this little girl is to add a little bit of tulle to her skirt or some folded vellum to give it a little bit of dimension. Now, there are also matching dies for these sets. Speaking of dies, let's switch gears for a little bit and talk about some of the new dies in this release, and we'll come back to some stamps in a bit. This is the Zigzag Stitch Circle Stacks, which is incredibly hard to say, and I had to say 400 times before I got it right, but it has a faux zigzag stitch on the inside edge of the circle. There are several different size circles in the set, and the biggest one is just under 4 inches across. I know there are many different faux stitch circle stack kind of dies out there. This is another option. I think it's fun because it's a little bit unique in that it has the zigzag stitch to it. There is also the oval stacks set, which is just like it with a faux zigzag stitch, the square, and there is a rectangle set. I seem to reach for my circle and square stacks the most. It just seems to be what I like. And the nice thing with the square is that if you do want a rectangle piece, you could use a partial die cutting trick to use a square die to create a rectangle panel. And I'll link to a video here where I show how to do that technique. Next is the Pierced Fancy Flourish die, and this die, it's hard to see, but it has tiny little pierced holes along the center of the entire flourish, just to add a little bit of elegance and interest. This die cut would be great to put behind maybe a flower die cut, so just a die cut in green kind of looks like a vine. You could put it along with a butterfly die cut, which I'll show you one in a moment, or just to add some layered elegance in the background of a card. So here are the butterflies I mentioned. There are actually 2 sets here. The one on the left is the Flutter of Butterflies lace, and the one on the right is the Flutter of Butterflies, and they work perfectly together. One cuts a solid image, one cuts like the open image, and you can layer them on top of each other, which I think is fantastic. So I die cut one of the butterflies in the white and just have it layered here, and you can see how you could put this simple embellishment on top of maybe a watercolored background. It's always hard to know what to do with fun technique backgrounds, but something like this is all you would need on top. Now, butterflies have been around for a while, but I'm a big fan of them because I think they work with so many different sentiments. So you could cut the top butterfly with black and do some fun glitter or colorful coloring on the back die cut and just let some of that color show through. The sky is the limit with the number of things you can use this for as far as techniques. I plan to die cut a few of these to take on vacation and add coloring to them with watercolor and markers. Okay, now we have this new button set, and this one actually die cuts and embosses, so you can create some unique looking buttons. I love buttons, and I love the look of buttons on cards, but I rarely use them because of the bulk, because I mail all of my cards. This is a nice solution. Just put a little bit of foam tape on the back of this, some string through the center, and you have the look of buttons. You can even put a coat of clear embossing powder or glossy accents on top to really make it look like a true button. Now, before I show you the next die set, I wanted to show this stamp set that I actually don't have, but I thought it was worth mentioning, and it matches up with the die set I want to show you. Lots of great sentiments here for stars and wishes. I think a lot of these things will work with many different star dies and stamps that you may already have, even sunshines. Now, what is great here is those large star, wish, and star sentiments. There is a die set that coordinates with that, so you can cut those stamped images out nicely. And there is another die set, this one that you see here, that cuts out the words the exact same size as the stamped words that I just showed you in that stamp set. So there are several different die and stamp sets that go together here, so you can do fun layering techniques. Now, I'm a sucker for a good font, and I really like the look of this one. And I think you can use that wish on birthday cards and the star for so very many things. I'm going to be using these for some teacher cards here soon. Another die set that goes with the products that I just showed you are the doodle stars that I think would be fun to do many techniques. You could emboss them with gold embossing powder or use glitter paper, or you could do like a deep sky watercolory background and die cut these from them. Next, we have the abstract cover-up. My Favorite Things has some cover-up dies like this one that are big enough to cover the entire front of a card. This one you can use just white on white, I think would be great, or you can do a stained glass look where you put different colors inside the different areas. This would be great for a die cut inlay technique, and I'll link to an example of that here. And finally, there are a few background stamps. First, we have the tiny stars, and this puts the daintiest little stars, which I think is a great option to have because sometimes you want to have a little interest in the background of a card, but not too much. This is nice and subtle, and of course, it's 6x6, so it'll cover your card with no problem. This goes nicely with all those star images and dies that I showed you earlier. And then there is the lace background. This is super elegant. It's gorgeous, just heat embossed with like an opal-y kind of powder on a white card, or just a tone on tone for a soft background. It really goes nicely with the elegant images that I showed you earlier in this video. So there you have a quick rundown of the new products from My Favorite Things. I hope this helps you decide if any of them are things that you could put to use and how to use them. If you're interested in the products, they're linked below in my YouTube description and over on my blog. And a big thanks to Colin for helping me out. We'll see you soon. The bunny's my favorite.
Wait, I want to get under here.